You're most welcome to my podcast. Once again, my name is Bravo, and this is Bravo Podcast. It's a great pleasure always having different people on my podcast. I know the face I'm going to have today is a face that you've already seen in my live stream, a face of somebody, Samuel Ibanda, the young man, certified public accountant, and all the way from Busoga. When I say Busoga, he's a mwana from deep in Busoga. He's going to tell us his story of how he's made it in life as a CPA, a certified public accountant. If you're a professional out there, please, you need to watch this story. You need to be motivated, inspired, and encouraged in your field of work. Especially when I mention the accountants, most accountants are always behind the doors. They're always behind there, and they are always not at the front meeting different people. But he's a different accountant. He's a different professional. Not only has he seen his life through entrepreneurship, he has inspired so many young professionals out there. And I know most of you have gone through his hands. He has taught you, he has given you encouragement, he has, something you've learned out of him. But we want to know the story behind Sam Ibanda. Keep watching and don't forget to share our content. Please share on your pages, in your circles, that somebody also can be inspired and be motivated. Please tap on the share and share our content. Thank you so much. You're most welcome, Sam Ibanda.
Sam Bright, Sam.
I always mention him as Sam Bright Ibanda or Sam Bright Muhindo, but this is Sam Ibanda.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm humbled, Brian, to be part of your podcast. And like you've shared, it's quite a journey.
Yeah.
And even as we share through, I would like to inspire somebody there who either may be going through a similar journey like the way I was, somebody who is young, like Samuel Bright Muhindo. I know he's your young boy.
Yeah.
But also being able to share with even the professionals themselves, people who are already grown up, for us to be able to share conversations on how are we able to still remain resilient on our work, on what we do, surviving in the workplace despite the ups and downs, and being able to just thrive in life and be happy at the end of the day.
I know so many people see you as an employee with PricewaterhouseCoopers.
With KPMG.
With KPMG, sorry, it's KPMG.
Yeah.
His employers are KPMG and would like to appreciate KPMG.
Yeah.
If you have not had the best accountants in Uganda or across the globe, KPMG is one of the professional auditors. Is it a professional auditors firm?
Yes.
It's a professional auditors firm, and we'd like to appreciate for making him what he is.
Yeah.
Yes. Most people would see you in KPMG. Most people would see you wherever you are.
Yeah.
And they think that Sam just went to school, studied, became a public accountant. He got a job probably by somebody behind KPMG, inside there, and they positioned him to this job.
Yeah.
We want to see the humble you of how you've managed to go through the ladders to where you are today. Because KPMG, most accountants, they want to work with KPMG, and they are proud working with KPMG.
Yeah.
So tell us about your story about it.
Thank you so much, Brian. And to our viewers, again, I want to appreciate you watching my story. So my story begins in a local village called Wanyange in Jinja. And that's where I was born and raised up. I think my first time coming to Kampala came through with my father. Well, he was coming to buy supplies, shopping, because he was a businessman. So one of the things he used to do while growing up is that he would go with us along with him while he's going to shop and buy some of these items for his shop. And this was to give us visibility, to see where he gets some of these materials. And that's how I came to Kampala. But as a young boy, one of the things that I would say is I grew up with dreams. Really, I had this aspiration to really make it in life. And somehow my life has evolved. and it's evolved from the times I was in school. I started my primary again in a small village in Iganga, so deep there, but again have been able to move through the journey. God blessed me with knowledge and wisdom. So I've excelled in school, at least being best tens, leading at school in various aspects. And here we are. So I went through my primary, then moved to secondary. Of course, life has been with ups and downs. Growing up in a family where my father is an entrepreneur, and you know circumstances that come with being entrepreneur. An entrepreneur, he lost his job while we were very young, navigating through. Actually, my father was a photographer, so all that journey shaped me. But one of the things I would say that I'm so much grateful that I was nurtured by those experiences.
Yeah.
Going through the schools, they're not so much really known schools, but I want to say that I had this kind of dream of being able to stand out and be able to change my life trajectory. And from a time, I think how I came to realize myself and so become so much intentional was when I got to O level, and now I started to look at my life and say, what next for me? What kind of life do I want to live, and where do I want to live? What do I want to really do with my life? And I think for me that opened me, and now I started to look at what are some of the things that can take me forward. I was like, do I become an engineer? Do I become an accountant? Do I become a doctor? But one of the things that I also came to appreciate is that I knew my background and I knew my potential. And I would tell you, Brian, that if you were in my village, you would hardly dream being a pilot because you've never seen an airplane. You even do not know how it looks like
You've
inside.
never even seen an airport.
Yes, or
Yeah.
airport. So my dreams definitely rotated around some of the things that I'd seen. So I said I wanted to become an engineer, but somehow I got my way into accountancy. And how did I get into accountancy? When I remember when I was in my form 4, senior 4, my parents told me that you have your siblings who are growing up, and this we've at least pushed you up to senior 4, and now you're going to A level. Of course, there was some worries of me getting to A level because the money was not really enough.
Yeah.
And also my siblings were still young, and they also needed to get that level. But thank God I got a first grade in my O level, and somehow the school I went to, Holy Cross Lakeview in Ginger, was able to give me a platform. They gave me half bursary for most of the time, so I was able to study through my A level. But at least in my mind, my parents had told me that this is your last level. This is where you'd end. You would not proceed to another level. Now, one of the things I looked at, I'm a person who looks at possibilities. So I continuously looked out and say, if at all they do not pay for me school fees, how can I also make it to university outside this other direction of school fees? So I came to learn that there is what we call government sponsorship. So one of the things I committed to myself is I'm going to do as much as I can to be able to get government. And somehow I started to work hard. So one of the things I've done in life is, if I see, Brian, you're so good at business, I'll understudy you and see what I can learn from you.
Yeah.
So I remember it was in my senior 5, I actually got a warning letter, an academic warning letter. But remember, this was my last opportunity for me.
Yeah.
And I told myself, I should not just look at this warning letter. I asked myself, is there a way I can turn this around? So there were those bright students that you would see that these are number 1, number 2, number 3. So I looked out for those students and said, what are they doing different that I'm not doing? So I started to look at what they did, the books they read, the discussions I attended them. And I was also very vulnerable to say I didn't know ABCD. Yeah. So I would get a question and run to you, and I'm like, Brian, can you take me through this question?
Yeah.
And that helped me. And when we got to the next term, I told myself I need to be part of the number 10, like at least the best 10 people.
Yeah.
And somehow I worked my way, and before I knew it, I was number 10.
Yeah.
And after the next term, because I started now to really put in effort and be serious, really befriended those guys that were really good.
Yeah.
And somehow I found myself becoming number two, and that changed a lot about me. And I ended up leading my school in the USC exams,
Yeah.
and I was given government sponsorship. So that's how I come to go to university to do my accounting course. So I got that accounting course, BCom accounting on government, and I went through university. But like somebody who is looking at life and seeing possibilities, but also looking at what is next for me. That is one thing that I look at, even right now, I look at to see what is next for me in the next 10 years, what's next for me in the 20 years, and being able to plan. So when I go to university, one of the things that I promised myself that I'm not going to go back home without a job.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go back as if I've not gone to university. That's one thing I promised myself. So I started to look around and see how can I actually get a job. So one of the things that, of course, I got when I got to university, some of my teachers, my past teachers, discouraged me even of the course I was doing. I remember even trying to change the course such that I can be able to do either statistics or do something different, because they told me there are quite a number of graduates who have gone through that same course and they have not gotten an opportunity to really even get a job.
Yeah.
How are you going to make it? So somehow I was a bit positive. For me, one thing that I've come to understand, Brian, is that there is always a way.
Yeah.
There's always a way, especially if you've seen some people succeed. That means you can actually succeed in that area.
Yeah.
Despite how many people have actually failed
yes.
at it.
Yeah.
So that's how I picked on my courage and asked myself, so what can I do differently to enable me to be able to get the job?
Yeah.
Because I needed to change my trajectory. I knew there was no hope for me at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I now go to learn that if you get a first class at university, the university retains you. So I said, okay, now I'm going to look for a first class. So I now worked my way to get that first class. But also one of the other things I also told us along the way, that if you're part of the school leadership, like you're part of the university leadership, they also you get known, lecturers get to know you, the administration gets to know you, and there's also another chance.
Yeah.
So I also entered into university leadership. So I was a course leader, so that's out a course leader, went on to get into being a guild minister, being a guild representative in part of the council. I did quite a number of things.
Yeah.
And all those things I was doing them because I needed to change my trajectory.
You need to change the story of the family.
I needed to change my...
Are you the first born in the family?
So I actually happen to be the fourth born.
Yeah.
In my family, I have 3 girls that I follow.
Yeah.
But they were not able to make it to directly to university degree.
Yeah.
So I was the first in my family to actually make it to a university degree.
Yes.
So that is why I had that kind of thing. I wanted to change that trajectory.
What was these sisters of yours, girls, affected by our cultures where they are married off young? Were they married off young? That as you know, in our cultures, most girls are married off early.
Yeah.
And other cultures also don't value more of the girl child.
Yeah.
Are you part of that, the family, that the girls had to be married off and the only chance given to the boy child?
Okay. It's not something like that. Actually, my sisters, of course, the opportunities were there, but like I told you, because we had a small income basket, so it meant that we were going through schools, and of course there were challenges along the way there. So somehow it limited them to be able to proceed so much into. I have a sister who was able to go to a diploma to do education, a diploma in education, but it was a struggle, and you know how. In our poverty kind of setting, how it's a struggle to take care, because we are over 11 children in our home, and my father was also taking care of quite a number of other children. So it is something that you could look at and see that there was that. So it is, you really needed to tap into other opportunities, like I did for sponsorship and being able to elevate myself. So that is what I can really say about. So it's been a journey,
Yeah.
and that's how I found myself going to university and finding myself with a first class and getting my first job.
It's hard work for somebody to come from Busoga. Of course, in a place where you, no airplanes,
Yeah.
nothing, but
Yeah.
you struggle as a young man
Yeah.
to make sure you change the story of your family.
Yeah.
And I'm very sure that your parents are very proud of you,
Yeah.
especially at the time where you've made it in life.
Yeah.
If we look at yes, you finished university. How was your first experience of getting this job,
Yeah.
and what was your first job?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Brian, for that question. So, my first job was actually an internship.
Yeah.
So what happened is, again, I was so determined not to really go back home, and I was just looking for any place that could give me the opportunity to be able to put my skills to
Yeah.
practice.
Yeah.
So I was at university, and we had this notes board where they used to put some adverts. So external people would come and put adverts there.
Looking for interns.
So I looking for interns, looking for employees. So I saw this opportunity. It was looking for interns, and to me, I was like, this is something that I can actually do and just be there.
Yeah.
So when I went, I actually saw the advert, applied. Before even the expiry date, they invited me to for the interview. So when I went to do the interview, somehow I reached there and they asked me, how much would you like us to pay you? And I was so surprised because I thought this was internship. I didn't
Yeah.
expect any pay.
Yeah.
But then later on, I got to realize that they were giving some stipend. I think it was about 370
Yeah.
to be able to cater for your needs. So that was exciting for me to be able to get an internship position. And something that also happened is, as I was getting to as an intern, somehow the organization had their accountant had resigned.
Yeah.
So because the accountant had resigned, they were recruiting somebody they can train. So in my first week, I had an opportunity to be trained by the resigning accountant.
Yeah.
So I was able to learn those different systems like QuickBooks and so on, things that really helped me to be able to equip myself as somebody who had gotten out of university. And this was even before I could graduate, something that was really interesting. So it was trying to even beat the odds of somebody who told me that you cannot get a job.
Yeah.
And this was not even now even the lecturing job that I was actually vying for earlier on.
Yeah.
This was a totally different thing. So
Yeah.
that's how things really worked out. So I started as an intern, and within a very small time, about 3 months, I did for 3 months. And because I had proved myself, after 3 months, I was confirmed
Yeah.
as the accountant
Wow.
for the organization.
That's amazing.
And
Just
my money moved from 370 now to hit 1 million plus.
wow. And at that time, I think 1 million would be, yes, you're a big boss.
Yeah, if you've not graduated and this is your first time being in the workplace, I think that's an exciting thing.
That's an exciting thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course, when you look at and you say you're excited about 1 million,
Yeah,
many of the young university students, I mean, the graduates,
yeah,
feel that they can't work for such monies.
yeah,
And many of them are home, seated home, and they have no jobs
Yeah.
because they feel that they cannot be paid enough. They would rather choose to be home
Yeah.
and be idle. I call it idle because if you have finished school, the best way is to go and really start practicing what you studied.
Yeah.
And at that moment, you may not have the qualifications to earn enough.
Yeah.
To me, I would say, why not take off and have something?
Yeah.
See, he accepted to be an intern, be trained through at little money,
Yeah.
and in a shortest period of time, he shoot up. And on merit, we talk about merit, this was merit.
Yeah.
So, about that very job,
Yeah.
I would like us to know, what is the experience? What is your experience about that first job? Because when we discuss this, I would want us to somebody watching there
Yeah.
who has no job, who has left university, and sometimes we tend to undermine and underrate jobs. What
Yeah.
was your experience? And I want somebody to feel yourself at that moment.
Yeah.
How would you encourage somebody out there to follow suit your journey?
Thank you so much. In relation to that question, I would say that do not underestimate any kind of job.
Yeah.
Because every job is a platform to help you to be able to get to the next level.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's people give you a chance such that they can see what you can do before they can elevate you to the next step.
Yes.
So I would encourage anyone, because for me, when I started out, definitely I was not so good at the different things. It was through training that equipped me. Yes, I had the knowledge from university, but I was ready to learn. And remember, even I applied for this job. It was an internship. I'd done internship like over 2 times. This was like my third time, and I was ready not to be paid. But I knew that the skills I was going to learn would equip me either to be retained or to find another job. So we always speak about experience. The people are looking for experience. But if you decide to say, let me start as an intern, this gives you an opportunity to be able to put your skills to test, but also give an opportunity for the other person to see some of the qualities that you have, the potential that you have. And for me, that I think that is what played out. Because when I started working, I put in my effort. I understood what the organization was looking out for, the values, the systems. I was so much interested. So the energy that I portrayed somehow made them believe that I was ready for the next role. So they were able to make me accountant even before I could graduate. So by the time I graduated, I was now elevated to accountant. But that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't seen the internship advert and applied for it. So I would encourage all our young people not to undermine positions. Sometimes it's a volunteering position. Sometimes it's just you reaching out and say, can I help on this? And before you know it, another person has seen you and they have given you an opportunity to do something great.
It takes discipline. Okay, it takes discipline. You may be out there, you think it was simple for him, but it takes discipline. It takes discipline for you to move to another level. That first job that you get and you undermine, that job can set you off. When I've had different entrepreneurs on my podcast, I've always said that the job you get at 19, 18, 19, 20, 25, 21, 22, that job should set you off. I know some of you go in to look for money. Yes, we all need money. But I want to assure you that the money you need, you'll earn it after a long period of time. This process is you need to go through the gestation period. Success is a process. You must be patient. You must be able to give in your 25 years. If you look at somebody who's driving a big Jeep, they have been there. If you go to a company and you find somebody who is a senior, who is driving a bigger car in that company, remember they have worked for it for many years. If you choose to jump any process, this is where we crash, guys. That job, even if it is from a small shop as a grocery shop, I'm telling you, that job can set you off at the end of the day. Even somebody who comes to you and picks you up, somebody can see your potential and tells you, please come to my place and become an accountant. Don't undermine any job. Even if somebody gives you a job and says, come and help me in my bookkeeping, please, you're getting experience. It is through that you can learn somebody that will set you off and put you somewhere. As a professional, treat everyone with utmost care and respect. And through that, I'm sure we can be able to thrive. Now, I know you are no longer on that very job. What transpired after with all these jobs?
So this job was my foundation, but I think as a young man, as somebody who aspires to really do greater things in life. So when I was at that job, I got another opportunity to work with another American company. This again was an opportunity for me to be able to be exposed to global systems. One of the things I want to say is my first job was in a consulting company. And one of the things I realized with the consultants that we are working with who are superior is that they had vast experience working in different industries. So myself, one of the reasons why I took a move to this American company is I wanted to grow my career. I wanted to grow my exposure. And that's how I moved to that American company. And I moved doing great things around taxes, reporting. And then from there, I again moved to another, there's a telecom company that used to be called Vodafone. So I entered into Vodafone. Again, that also gave me a lot of exposure because this was also an international company. Gave me a lot of exposure. Then along the way, I pivoted now to move to NGO. And that's how I moved to Save the Children. In Save the Children, I spent quite a lot of time because I entered as an accountant. grew as a finance manager.
Yeah.
Around that time, I moved to Karamoja. I was actually in Karamoja there for about 2 years as a finance manager, and later on became a finance lead, um, overseeing a number of organizations that were working with Save the Children. And once I'd worked for about 4 coming to 5 years, now I pivoted to be able to join KPMG, and that came because I had now started to develop uh, the love for consultancy and that aspect of me wanting to work with quite a number of organizations. Remember when I started in a consultancy firm, and I wanted to go and grow experience. So that's why I moved quite a number of organizations, and now I came back to consultancy, which is the work that I do at KPMG as an advisor, but also as a consultant.
Wow. KPMG.
Yeah.
We appreciate KPMG. That's what does KPMG mean?
Yeah, so thanks for the question. So KPMG are actually initials of the founders.
Okay.
Yeah, so they have some hard names that I may not easily pronounce, and I don't want to err on that. But these were white men that started their own practices, and later on agreed to merge.
Okay.
So they were able to now combine their initials of their first names
and became the brand.
Yes, and became the
brand.
Now
a brand of KPMG.
Yeah, so
anyone is watching from KPMG, he needs to tell us what KPMG means. The names are hard because sometimes he doesn't want to make a mistake, but it's a spotlight for him. But this is amazing. And how do you find the field that you're in? Tell us the challenges that you're faced as an accountant. Because here we are encouraging the accountants. The accountants, please watch properly. What challenges do you face as an accountant, especially an accountant who does his work in a country that has less systems? Now the systems are coming in place. Of course, now when I talk about less system, we are more manual. We are very manual before we got EFRIS, which was introduced by Uganda Revenue Authority. Now it is trying to make things simpler. But before, it was very hectic. As an accountant, tell us your experience of the challenges we faced working in a country that has less systems, and where even entrepreneurs or most people are actually manual.
Thank you so much, Brian. And I want to say, yes, there have been challenges doing work, but I think because I was also trained in the same country, so somehow the training trained us to be able to be resilient and to handle even the manual kind of work. So it also happens that I started my work at a time where everything was evolving, and here systems, like the way you said, systems are coming up every day. But one of the things that has helped me as an accountant is in becoming resilient is making sure I'm updated. I'm updating myself, so I'm reskilling every day to be able to learn some of these systems. I think for my career, I've used quite a number of, now coming, I think, over 10 systems. So it's about continuous reskilling, but also understanding what does, let's say, the business owner want at the end of the day. So it's not just about, here is the system. It's also about getting down to say, this system will be able to present to you the, let's say, the profit and loss, will be able to give you an idea of what your incomes are or what your expenses are and what your profit is. So that at the end of the day helps the entrepreneur to be able to appreciate the value of the system. And that's the same thing even with IFRIS now that is there, because now the taxman also wants now to see exactly what is happening in your business. And of course, as a business owner, this is also helping you in terms of being able to know to put your transactions in shape, because you know that now somebody is watching, but also it's helping you to tap into systems. Now you're getting used to the systems, and you now know how your money is coming in and how your money is leaving. So that helps me. So there have been challenges. Of course, the other challenge that is also very key is that we work in environments where people want to get things that they have not paid for, or they want free things. And to me, who is a person who is guarding that money for an organization, There are those cases where you get somebody that wants to bribe you.
Yeah.
They want to do they just want to get that money. They're even wondering, your accountant and you have all this money around you, why don't you just pick something? Why are you even poor
Yeah.
in yourself? But as an accountant, I'm trained as a professional accountant. I'm trained to maintain integrity,
Yeah.
understanding that if Brian has given me the accountant role, I need to offer that role of being a steward, understanding that if I steal from the business, that fits me, what does that make sense for me as an individual? So for me, if there's an aspect that has kept me grounded despite the challenges, is integrity and my values, and understanding that my name is of more value than the amount of money that I can actually have access to. Yeah.
Wonderful. There is this saying
Yeah.
that integrity does not necessarily mean morality.
Yeah.
How do you describe it? Because to me, I say integrity does not necessarily mean morality. To my understanding, integrity means you set a pace,
Yeah.
or you set a standard that works best for you,
Yeah.
and that is the integrity.
Yeah.
How do you relate it into your kind of work? And where do you derive that integrity in you that you set up?
Yeah.
Okay, where do you derive it from?
Okay, thank you so much. So there's a saying that integrity is doing the right thing even when no one is watching.
Yeah.
So what I would say is, as an accountant, integrity is central to my role.
Yes.
And by training, when I went to university,
Yeah.
one of the aspects I was trained is integrity.
Yeah.
Even when I was doing my certified public accountants course,
Yes.
one of the key elements they taught us is integrity.
Yes.
But also the values brand. Well, growing up, I've told you I grew up with my father who was running a business, which businesses are still running up to now, even when he passed on.
Yeah.
But I want to say that he taught us these kind of values,
Yeah.
that money, if money does not belong to you, it's not yours.
Yes.
So even when you would leave money on the table there, he knew that he would actually find it, because that is how he was keeping the integrity. So even when we didn't have cameras in the house,
Yeah.
you knew that that money does not belong to me.
Yeah.
So those values shape how I also respond to how my environment, even as an accountant.
Wonderful.
So that is what happens.
Wow. Tell us, there is an accountant out there. He's very good, disciplined, Christian,
Yeah.
but this accountant is in a company that there's a lot of pressure, and they are forced to land themselves into corruption.
Yeah.
As a professional accountant with discipline, with integrity,
Yeah.
what would you tell such an accountant who is actually involved in the corrupting of somebody's business out there? Because I know there are so many
Yeah.
of them who have moved away from the professionalism.
Yeah.
They are into now doing a lot of, we've seen principal accountants in the government.
Yeah.
You've seen Chris Obe, who passed on.
Yeah.
We've seen Kazinda in jail.
Yeah.
We've seen Jamwa, the one who was heading the largest, institution, who lost his CPA
Yeah.
qualifications because of
Yeah.
lack of integrity. How do you encourage somebody who is going through that and has to defend themselves, and yet still they need a job?
Yeah, thank you so much, Brian. And I think you touch a very critical aspect.
Yeah.
And like I said, this is the Uganda. This is where we are. Some things have become normal.
Yes.
It's just like the way you drive on the road,
Yeah.
and the policeman stops you. Already in the policeman's mind knows that you will touch somewhere and give them money.
Yeah.
And when you do not give them the money, that is another thing. They want to frustrate you. So even in the workplace, I think such kind of things are there. And myself, have been in such places before. And one of the things I would say is stand to your values.
Yeah.
And I know some people who are watching will be like, but how? How can you stand to your values when you still need the job? But stand to your values. And sometimes when you also have the faith that despite whatever environment I'm in, this is not the end of the road.
Yeah.
I have places where I've been to, a place where I've worked and I've found such kind of circumstances where you question something and somebody's asking you never to question them again because they are superior to you, and whatever they are telling you, you're supposed to do it. When the auditors come, it's you to defend the same mess that you've actually done. And so you're so wondering, what can I exactly do? So some of those places you walk out. You walk out, you start to search for another job and find it. And one of the things I would also want to say is that you can still be able to make money as an accountant without having to rob others. Because when you grow in your career, right now I am a manager, and I've been a finance lead. I want to tell you that the money that I would have been so much caught up as an accountant here is money that I'm now making through salary, through genuine ways. That I would have messed up with my career. So yes, quick money is really good. It's good to cheat somebody. Maybe somebody has supplied goods. Now, like you entrepreneurs, you've supplied goods worth 4 million. You're only making a profit of, let's say, 1 million. But the accountant wants to make 700,000 and they want to leave you with 300,000. So you're frustrating a dream, and you're making this money where you've not put in an effort, but what's the blessing for you? So that is one of the things. But one of the things, and this is one thing I do, Brian, and if you've seen me do it, so I do a lot of mentorship for some of the accountants. So there are some scenarios where you may not be able to have an answer to. But through mentorship and also being able to get yourself in communities, I run the Transformation Professionals Club. So getting yourself in environments that build your confidence to be able to stand by your values, but also environments that give you opportunities, other alternative opportunities that can help you survive despite being, because sometimes why we do some of those things is because our world rotates around that. There's no option. We cannot find another job. We when anything happens, we are messed up. But when you try to start look at possibilities and understand that, okay, standing on my faith and my integrity, I can actually find myself out there.
Wow. I know there are so many accountants who are seated on people's invoices. Because they have not touched their pocket. If you're an accountant and you do that in any company, then you are not an accountant. You are just there really to frustrate people. But a professional accountant cannot sit on somebody's payment because they need to be paid. And if you're one of them, I'm sure one time it will be called on. And again, as I talked about Jama, I talked about Kazinda, I talked about the Obehu Paston. Those are all professional accountants that lost their professions because of the mess. I think we'll have a topic on that and we'll come and bring it out and see how integrity can bring you down. Definitely, it can bring you down, and we'll discuss that topic, and we'll give you these all examples as professional accountants and learn. Most of you have said he runs the transformational professions club. You can look for it on Facebook. You can even search on his account, Coach Samuel Ibanda. Write to him. If you're an accountant and a new accountant, you're going through all these challenges, use his brain. Ask him that I'm in this company. I'm going through this challenge. How do I mitigate? How do I handle? How do I sort this with my seniors? He will be able to guide you and you'll become a great... He may even tell you, resign from that job. And I know sometimes you don't have a job, but you'd rather resign and have that reason of resigning as you're getting another job. And I'm sure the jobs are there, guys. The jobs are there. Now, Sam, I would want you to ask you this question and be very, very honest. My son is in high school, He'll be doing his senior 6 coming next year. My firstborn. My son Elijah says he wants to be an accountant. And I gave him my view. This is my honest view, guys, viewers. It's not just fiction. This is my honest view. I told him, if you want to be an accountant, when you finish your senior 6, if I can afford, I will take you and you do CPA straight. SCCA or CPA that we can manage. I would not allow my son to go for a bachelor's degree in finance and accounting. I would tell him to go for CPA or SCCA. He does it. I asked him if he can have the strength to do the same concurrently. He's at CPA and he's doing the bachelor's at the university. Why am I doing this? In my own company, I've employed accountants. I've realized most of them, they have gone through finance administration, bachelor's, and then you find they don't have the experience
Yeah.
of being an accountant,
Yeah.
and then it's another burden. So I told my son, you will have to go for SCCA first. Even if you can't do both, you do SCCA first, finish it,
Yeah.
then you go for your bachelor's.
Yeah.
Is that advice authentic? Is that advice proper for a parent who is watching this? Because I've always despised people with my experience of employing people, and realized that if you have your bachelor's in that line and you
Yeah.
don't have SCCA or CPA,
Yeah.
you're still at zero.
Thank you so much, Brian. And I don't know where you got such kind of advice, but I think it's because you're an informed person, so
Yeah.
you can be able to relate. I'll tell you that when I went through my bachelor's and now moved to CPA, I was repeating everything that I studied at bachelor's.
Yes.
So that seemed to be a duplication, yet I would be studying something totally different.
Yeah.
And of course, CPA gave me even more because they were giving me from practical point of view.
Yeah.
So it was not just like the way I studied things at bachelor's. So if somebody chose to actually take the CPA journey directly from A level or take the SCCA journey, it's actually an advantage. And actually, based on the national curriculum
Yeah.
of Uganda, the National Council, I think I was reading somewhere where they were saying that CPA is now an equivalent of a university degree.
Bachelor's, yes.
So somebody can actually move from CPA and go get a master's.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yes.
Parents, if you're listening here and you have your children who would want to be in this profession, kindly pick it up.
Yes, and the same thing with SCCA. There's a university in the UK. I think it's either University of Brooks. I'm
Birmingham or Brooke?
I'm forgetting the university.
Yeah.
But there's a university that partnered with SCCA that when you get done with SCCA, you can be able to get an equivalent, a bachelor's in science in accounting.
Yeah.
So you only do like a one research paper for you to be able to get that bachelor's.
Yeah.
So there's more advantages with around SCCA. Even when you have a SCCA, you actually have quite a number of exemptions.
Yeah.
There's a master's called Edinburgh. I think it's a university. Their MBA. If you're done SCCA, you only do about 6 papers to get an MBA.
Wow.
So I would want to say that it's an okay route.
It's an okay route,
If
yeah.
you think that that would actually help them, it's an okay route.
Yeah.
You know, and even the employers are now moving away from just looking at academic documents.
Yeah.
Of course, it's also an academic document, but quite a number of employers can actually recruit somebody who just even has an SCCA.
Yeah.
And this person will even have an advantage over somebody who has bachelor's.
Yes.
So the world is starting to appreciate that.
Yeah.
In Uganda, of course, it's a bit slow, but in outside countries,
Yeah.
having your SCCA gives you
Yeah.
a direct entry. I think I was reading, I think it's Ernest and Young,
Yeah.
which now it's okay. If you have this qualification, you enter.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, Sam, you spoke a lot, everything here and there, but I didn't hear you speak about family. Are you a family man? Are you single? So that we can go into the search and I tell my viewers that he's actually a single man. Are you
Okay.
single?
Thank you so much, Brian. So I have a ring, so that should be able to give an indication that I'm married. So I'm married to one woman.
One woman.
So and I know she could be watching. So she's actually called Judith Asimwe.
Judith Asimwe.
Very similar to one of your previous guests.
Yeah.
But we got married in 2020.
Yeah.
And God has blessed us with 3 children.
Yeah.
One is a boy who is about now 5 years old. And then we have 2 girls who are twins.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I was also almost thinking that in 5 years he has 3 children. He's a strong man, but she say they are twins.
Yeah, so they are
He's a salon.
basically twins. So we want to thank God that we have those children, taking care of them.
Yeah.
You know, when you move from being an independent man now to become a father, it comes with another kind of responsibility.
Yeah.
But also as somebody who really looks at the future, you're now trying to look at how can I model these children into what they need to become tomorrow and prepare them, because it's our responsibility as parents. So that's what I could say about my family. So my family, if you're watching, if you're my son, you're watching this after 20 years, this is me sending you greetings.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, it's something that I want. I really value family.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I told myself is when I want to settle early. And I got married at around 28 years.
Yeah.
And why I wanted to get settled early is because, we're in a society where a lot of things are happening,
Yeah.
and a lot of distractions, especially for young people.
Yeah.
You find that somebody is so distracted, they are getting into drugs, they are getting into women,
Yeah.
and before they want to settle down, they have already drained themselves,
Yeah.
and everything they're doing things because time has passed and they've gone through a lot of challenge. So I really wanted to settle very fast, and I was able to get my wife also with the same mindset. So we settled, and yeah, my wife is just an accountant.
Yeah.
So we're happily married and living life.
You can imagine a home that has an accountant as a husband and an accountant as a wife. I see trouble. Because in this case,
Yeah.
it's all numbers. So I know how your children are going to be going through a lot of trouble, because everything they'll bring to you, you must put it on paper. So it's amazing, guys. It's a pleasure once again having Sam Ibanda. We'll always have sessions with him to take you through different sessions. I know you'd want to get knowledge from him as a certified public accountant, and I will always bring him in to make sure that we have different sessions for you to learn as an accountant out there. Or if you have a son or daughter that would want to also go into this kind of field, Sam is here. Sam is a coach, actually. He's a coach, a real coach, and he can coach you into that profession, and he can also become your personal consultant at a small fee, definitely, and then he could guide you and make you a great accountant. So thank you so much for being here, and I would want him to give us a closing remark in 1, 2, 3 words, and then we are going to go. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, our viewers. Thank you so much, Brian, for this opportunity to speak to our viewers and for the conversations. I'm an ardent follower of the Bravo podcast, and I've watched quite a number of episodes. And thanks to our camera team behind there for the great work that you're also doing, bring us this. I think, Brian, what I would say is in life, somebody may even ask yourself and say, why do we have this podcast?
Yeah.
Why these conversations coming through? But you and me have been transformed because we had somebody speak about something.
Yeah.
So one of the things I would encourage our viewers is, what are you listening to?
Yeah.
We have quite a number of content these days that you can go and spend quite a number of good hours scrolling through your phone.
Yeah.
But what are you feeding your brain, and what is that value that you're putting to yourself? Because one of the things I've come to realize, and like the way you said, I'm coming from a deep village, wherever I'm coming from, and here I'm on value. I'm being featured on TVs, on NTV, on different podcasts. I'm working with global organizations.
Yeah.
Whatever is summarized in my journey is value.
Yeah.
Continuously putting myself of value. When your value, your name goes before you.
Yeah.
People do not question who is your father, who is your mother.
Yeah.
It will be about the value that you bring to the table.
Yeah.
So if you're watching me today, one of the things I would encourage you is strive to be a person of value. And how do you strive to be a person of value is continuously growing yourself. I usually share about what I would call the 5 principles that have helped me in life, and one of them that I share is people. The people you connect with is very important. I and Brian connected in 2020.
During COVID.
During COVID, I remember the first call I made with Brian, I felt like not calling again because he was somebody I was seeing above from there. He didn't know me, but I had to go through the processes for me to be able to build the key relationship that I needed. And here we are being able to have this conversation. So you do not know whom you're meeting every day. So embrace the people you're looking, and also be intentional about reaching out for opportunities so that you can be able to grow yourself, grow your family, grow your career, and be elevated. And before you know it, you're getting to places and people are wondering, how did you get there? But you have built your journey progressively. And one of the other things that I will also want to leave with our viewers is somebody's watching. Somebody's watching you not doing something, and somebody's watching
When you're
the,
doing
the
something.
person doing something.
Yeah.
And the person who is doing something will actually be given more opportunities.
Yeah.
The person who is not doing anything,
Nobody
you see,
has time for
even
it.
even when you present your documents and there's no experience on your CV,
Yeah.
somebody will be able to see and be like, so you do not have anything. There's one of the employers who was sharing with me, and I was like, if I asked you in the interview and asked you what are you doing, what is your day to day, and you tell me nothing,
Yeah.
that's already a red flag.
Yeah.
Because in the opportunities that we have, do not wait for the opportunity. Sometimes you're looking for the big opportunity, but start with that is near you.
Yeah.
Just reach out and say, can I offer myself? Can I help? If you studied accounting, there are quite a number of businesses that do not even have an accountant.
Yeah.
Can you volunteer yourself, and can I be coming through weekend and offer my services? And that alone is now an item on your CV that you can be able to present to another person and be able to help you. So I want to encourage you that I know you might be going through a tough situation. Life may not be easy, but it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
And what you're going through today sometimes may be even a stepping stone for who you're going to be at the end of the day. So being positive about it and looking for possibilities around.
Yeah.
If I had not looked around for what I can else get to, maybe government sponsorship,
Yeah.
maybe I wouldn't have met you in university, and you would not be listening to me today. But because I looked out for the possibility and I was like, I can actually take this direction. If I hadn't looked for the opportunity of getting into employment by taking on the internship, I will not be where I am today.
Yeah.
But being able to look at that small thing and don't despise small beginnings, embrace them, take them up, and go for them. Before you know it, somebody has met you and has opened another door has opened. So no door is going to open while standing. You have to wake up and knock at that door.
Yes.
And if the door is not opening, look for another entry. Sometimes it's in the crack.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the wall. You do not see a door, but there's actually a door there.
Yeah.
So that's what I would leave with our viewers, and I want to appreciate all our viewers. Thank you so much for watching. And if you need to find me or have a conversation with me, I'm on social media. You can find me, Coach Samuel Ibanda, across LinkedIn. You can also find me on TikTok, Coach Samuel Ibanda. You can find me on YouTube, Coach Samuel Ibanda. You can find me on Facebook as Samuel Ibanda. When you just Google Samuel Ibanda, you'll be able to find me. And of course, you can find me on my website, www.samuelibanda.com. And I also run a club, which is a Transformation Professionals Club, where we mentor professionals, people who are into the workspace, entrepreneurs that would like to grow their businesses. All that I do to be able to help and give back to society, because I do not just live by my own. Just as I've gotten to my level where I am today, I need to be able to help another person to be able to get where they need to be. So thank you so much, and may God bless you.
Thank you so much for watching. It's a pleasure always having Sam. It's very, very interesting. And would like to appreciate our camera people behind, Elijah, Solomon, Joel. You guys are doing amazing work. Would like to appreciate you once again. And in the end, we appreciate KPMG for nurturing, employing, and being there for Sam Ibanda. Thank you so much, guys, and see you in our next podcast.